Hey guys, it's Chris Roy from Legacy Counselors. I've been getting a lot of questions about estate planning, different documents and concepts. We're in the midst of the COVID-19 lockdown, outbreak, quarantine, what have you. Although the curve seems to certainly be flattening, the questions are still coming from the clients and potential clients. And I wanted to just create a little informational video because of all the people that are asking the question, I'm sure there's other people out there that have the question that are either too scared to ask, don't know where to turn, don't know who to ask. So for what it's worth, I just want to spend a few minutes on a couple of really important estate planning documents related to healthcare specifically. So in your portfolio of documents, there's typically 5 estate planning documents. One is your last will and testament or trust. Your power of attorney, that's your general durable power of attorney. That's typically going to handle your financial assets. But what this video is about is the 3 healthcare documents. The first that I'll discuss here is your healthcare proxy or healthcare power of attorney, and those are used somewhat interchangeably depending on what jurisdiction you're in. And I'll do the same here today. The second is a living will, and the third is a HIPAA. So let's talk through the healthcare proxy. What is it? Who should you pick? So the healthcare proxy, healthcare power of attorney, is a document that allows you to hand select a person, or you can choose multiple, or really what you want to do is have a person in a succession. So if the first person can't, that you nominate, if they can't do the job, then whoever you choose second, third, so on and so forth. So for this position, this is somebody that you handpick that is going to be able to make healthcare decisions for you if you cannot. That last part is important. So your healthcare proxy, your healthcare power of attorney, name somebody, your agent, whom shares your values, who understands what you want out of your healthcare decisions. Hopefully you have the opportunity to discuss that with them. And if you have not already, it's a really smart thing to do. Again, as we say, a hot dog and a beer or a glass of wine, whatever your strategy is, or whatever you prefer, whatever your style is really what I'm trying to say. Take the time to do it. It's really important stuff. So although this may seem really basic, some of the I think the nuance here is in the discussion with your family. It's in talking it through and thinking it through a little bit more, and in a little bit more depth. As we've all seen, these can become very real things very quickly. So even if you're on the younger side, or really any age, if you have a healthcare proxy, if you don't and you need one, absolutely get one. Yeah, that's going to allow, again, whoever you handpick to make healthcare decisions for you if you cannot. So they call it informed consent. So if the doctor says, Chris, you have these 2 options, which one would you like to do? And I can't understand the nature of what they're talking about. At that point in time, they will go to my agent. My agent is my wife, so they'll go to my wife, Katie, and they'll say, Katie, here's the 2 options, 1 or 2, which one makes the most sense for Chris? So that's an important nuance there. It's not that this person that you name as an agent is going to take over for you and start doing these things for you necessarily. It's more of, if you cannot, you want to have somebody in your place that can do that for you. Okay. So the second document is a living will. So the living will is, for lack of a better phrase, we sort of call it the pull the plug instructions, and that's what it is. If you are permanently unconscious, or terminally ill, it's a document that allows your healthcare proxy, whoever you named in your healthcare proxy or healthcare agent, it allows that person to talk with the doctor and make the decision to withdraw life-saving support or life-sustaining support. So if the only reason you're being kept alive is because it's 2020 and we have machines that are breathing for you, you may opt not to want that. And if that's your wish, well, the way you spell it out, the document you use to do so, is called the living will. And again, that's whoever your healthcare proxy is will serve in that capacity, and they'll make that decision for you at that time. So if you're permanently unconscious, terminally ill, and again, you're being kept alive by respirators, or any other sort of technology that is keeping us alive, but there's no further brain activity, and we're told that by the doctor that, the Chris you knew before is not coming back. The only reason we have them alive right now is because we're able to with the technology. At that point in time, they'll ask my healthcare agent if there is a living will in place, spelling out my wishes for that scenario. And for myself, mine says, but if I get to that place, to let me go. And I think that's my personal feeling that passing with dignity at that point would be my option. But this is just an informational video about what the different documents are and what the options are that go with them. So don't let my personal views impact your decisions on that front. So the third and final healthcare document is the HIPAA release. So we've all heard the term HIPAA. It's essentially a federal law that protects certain types of healthcare information and the release of that, particularly the release of that information. So you have to sign a release, we call it the HIPAA release, that states who you want the doctor to be able to release that information to. We sort of say in our practice, it's the people that get to stay in the room when the doctor is talking to them about both what the options are, what the prognosis looks like, how things are going, and how this is likely to play out. So it's important to note a couple of things. For one, there's no minimum or maximum really. I would say actually there's a minimum, there's no maximum. The minimum is whoever's on your healthcare proxy is going to need to be obviously able to talk to the doctor, and therefore they're going to need to be named in the HIPAA release. With regard to who else goes in there, you may very well want a friend or a loved one or somebody else that you care about to be able to be in the room. Then maybe it's an in-law, maybe it's somebody that, again, just a friend or someone you're close to. You don't necessarily want them making healthcare decisions for you, but you also don't want them to be necessarily kicked out of the room when the doctor's talking about it, if that makes sense. So that concludes the video. Again, thanks for tuning in, and I just wanted to again talk about what we're seeing here. We're going to do a few more of these. I don't know exactly how many or when we're gonna stop, but hopefully I think this is this may be a good thing that comes out of the COVID crisis, which is just reaching more people and being able to tell people what we do and who we help, and inform them in a way that is hopefully useful so they can prepare for themselves and their families. So without further ado, this is Chris Roy signing off. Thanks a lot, doctors.